morning, dear students. Today I am going to continue the chapter 7th standard animal fibers. We have started this chapter. We started discussing about the animal fibers. We discussed about the wool, okay, the wool which is obtained from the sheep and from other animals also. How the production is done, how the rearing of sheep, which are the procedure used in the uh, used in making the wool fabric, that we have discussed in the last class. The next animal fiber which I am going to discuss in today's class is silk. Okay, the silk is obtained from the silkworm, or we can call it as silk moth. Okay, my topic for today's class is silk. Okay, silk is an animal fiber which is obtained from the silk moth. Okay, there is a life cycle. There is one interesting life cycle about the silk moth. Okay, how the silk wool is how the silk fiber is obtained from the silk moth, and let us discuss in detail now. Okay, in the life cycle of silk moth there are mainly 4 stages. Okay, the life cycle of silk moth includes 4 stages. There are 4 stages in the entire life cycle of the silk moth. Now let us discuss about the life cycle of silk moth. Okay, the entire lifespan of this silk moth is just within a couple of months. Okay, within couple of the lifespan of silk moth is couple of months. Means they live only for 2 months only. So the first stage in the when the female silk moth lays egg, it lays egg around 300 to 400 eggs. Okay, the female silk moth in the first stage, they will lay the eggs almost to 300 to 400 eggs. So the egg is laying the eggs. Egg is the first stage in the life cycle of silk moth. Okay, and the first stage is egg. They will lay the female silk moth will lay the eggs around 300 to 400. Okay, after few days, within 7 to 14 days, means within a week, within 2 weeks, they will hatch and the larva will come out. Okay, it starts when the egg hatches, it starts crawling out. So that stage is known as larva. The second stage is larva. Okay, in that stage it starts crawling like the worms. Okay, and it starts eating the tender mulberry leaves. Tender mulberry leaves is a food for the silk moth. So it starts eating the tender mulberry leaves, and as the larva stage will end up within 2 weeks. Okay, it will end up within 21 days. Okay, it takes almost 3 weeks. So at that time it starts eating. In the beginning it starts eating the tender mulberry leaves. Once it starts growing, once it grows, it can able to eat the tougher mulberry leaves also. So when it is in the larva stage, it starts eating the mulberry leaves. So finally it will end up within 3 weeks. It takes the larva stage will end up within 21 days. The next stage is pupa. What is pupa? Okay, eventually the larva starts building the web around itself in order to protect itself. Okay, in order to protect itself, it starts building the web around itself. Then slowly it starts covering its body by the fine protein filament. It starts covering its body by the fine protein filaments. Okay, so when it is exposed to air, it will become hard substance. So the silk moth uses that to spin the cocoon around itself. This stage is known as pupa. Okay, the silkworm will be sleeping inside that cocoon. At that stage, the lava will be sleeping inside that. It does not take any food, there is no reaction, there is no action by the lava. It will be sleeping in that stage. It does not take any food, nothing. Okay, the cocoon, the lava at this stage is known as a pupa. Okay, the lava at this stage is known as a pupa when it is covered by the cocoon. So that cocoon, we that okay that cocoon we used to get the silk fibers. Okay, that cocoon we used to get the silk fibers. Silk fiber is obtained by this cocoon. Okay, we can get various silk fibers. It vary from one silkworm to another. It depends on which type of food they take. Okay, we can get the silk fibers by this cocoon, which is in various colors from white to golden yellow color. Okay, the pupa undergoes many changes. Okay, inside the cocoon, the pupa undergoes many changes inside the cocoon, and it will take around 10 to 14 days. Okay, the pupa will take around for these changes around, in order to become the adult silk moth, it will take around 10 to 14 days. Okay, the cocoon will be hatched and the adult silk moth will come out from the cocoon. Okay, so this is the life cycle. So these are the stages. First stage is egg, second stage is lava, and when the lava covers its body from the web and from the thin filament of protein, when it is exposed to air, it will become the cocoon. When the pupa is covered by the cocoon, that is the third stage. Then slowly, after so many changes, finally it will become the adult silk moth. So these are the steps inside the, so cocoon will be pupa will be there inside the cocoon. Okay, inside the cocoon, what is there? Pupa is there. The stage is known as a pupa stage, and it is this pupa is covered by the cocoon. Cocoon is like the shell. Okay, the final stage is adult silk moth. Okay, these are the life cycle which is involved in the silk moth. Okay, now let us discuss about what are the procedures involved in the production of silk fibers.
Life cycle of silk moth. It has 4 stages: eggs, larva, pupa, and imago. Silk moth resembles butterfly. These are creamy white in color. It has 3 pairs of legs and 2 pairs of wings. The female moth lays about 500 eggs. The eggs are very small, weigh about 1 milligram. These are yellowish white in color. Within 10 days, eggs hatch into larva. Newly hatched larva is about 0.6 millimeters in length. Larva is eating mulberry leaves continuously for 25 to 30 days. During this period, larva undergoes 4 moltings. After 4th molting, larva attains 6.5 centimeters length and stops feeding. salivary glands of larvae modified into silk glands. These glands produce a fluid that contains fibroin protein and sericin gum. When the fluid exposed to air, immediately it turns into strong silk fiber. Larva spins silk fiber around its body about some 1,000 times. As a result, a protective case is formed around the larva. This case is called cocoon or pattukaya. It takes 5 to 7 days for complete formation of a cocoon. Inside the cocoon, larva changed into pupa. Within 10 days, pupa develops as imago. Imago makes a hole and comes out from the cocoon. Likewise, silk moth completes its life cycle in 4 stages. They are eggs, larva, pupa, and imago.
Sericulture, the term which is used for the rearing of silk moths is known as sericulture. Okay, the rearing of silkworms for the production of silk is known as the sericulture. What is sericulture? The rearing of silkworm for the production of silk is known as a sericulture. It is a process where they will rear the silkworm for the production of silk fibers. Got it? So many activities, so many procedures are involved in the sericulture. Which are they? They are cultivation of food for the silkworms. Okay, the cultivation of food for the silkworm. Its food, do you know? Mulberry plant leaves. Mulberry plant leaves. There should be availability of the mulberry plant leaves. Cultivation of food for the silkworms. The second activity is the rearing of silkworms. Rearing of silkworms. Then reeling the cocoon for unwinding the silk filament from them. Okay, they will make use of the reel and they will unwind the. The pupa was covered by the cocoon, right? So we have to unwind. So in order to get the silk fiber, so reeling the silkworm for unwinding the silk filament. Then the remaining activities which is similar in the other fibers also, twisting, dyeing, weaving and finishing. These are the activities which are involved in the sericulture. Now let us discuss about the production of silk. Okay, in the production of silk, okay, there are several steps. It involves several steps. In the first step, what they do, they will collect the eggs and they will keep it for incubation. Okay, the eggs are incubated until they hatch, until the larva hatches from the eggs. In the first stage, the eggs are incubated. Incubation means giving the warmth to the eggs, so it can hatch. It can the larva will come out by hatching. Then in the next stage, larva, for the larva, what they do, they will fed on mulberry leaves. They will provide the mulberry leaves. The larva will fed on mulberry leaves till until they grow. And when they grow, they shed their skin 4 times. Okay, while growing, when it is in the larva stage, they shed their skin 4 times. So that process is known as molting. What is molting? The process of shedding its skin during larva stage is known as molting. Okay. Small branches are placed in the rearing houses. So the silkworms climb these branches and start spinning their cocoons. Okay, they take about 3 days to complete the process of spinning. They will spin the webs, they will spin the filament, they will cover their self, the lava will cover by itself and to spin to a cocoon. Okay, cocoon will be formed. Okay, in order to form this cocoon, it takes just 3 days. Within 3 days, the cocoon will be formed by spinning. Okay, the next step in the production of silk is reeling or filature. What is reeling or filature? They will collect the cocoons and they will boil in order to kill the insect inside it. Okay, they will, in order to kill the insect inside it, they use only the outer shell, outer cover of the cocoons. They use only the cocoons. Okay, they don't use that the insect. Then after the filaments are obtained from the cocoons by the process known as reeling or filature. Okay, the filaments are obtained from the cocoons by the process known as reeling or filature. This process of obtaining the filaments, boiling and killing the insect, getting the cocoon shell is known as the reeling or filature. By this process they will obtain the filaments. Then they will use the machine. They will use the machine to unwind the silk thread from the cocoon. They will make use of the machine in order to unwind the silk thread from the cocoon. After that, they will collect the threads. They will collect the fibers and they will make into threads. The fibers is made into threads. Then this silk thread is known as a raw silk. Okay, that is a raw silk. Fibers are made into thread. They will use a machine and they will make them into, they will make the long strips like thread. Okay, that thread is known as raw silk. Using the raw silk, they will weave and then they will dye and they will give different colors to the fibers. Okay, they will make the fabrics. This is how the process continues. Now let us learn about the production of silk through this video.
Cocoon to silk fiber and sericulture. Basically, the rearing of silkworm to obtain silk fiber is called sericulture. The people who practice sericulture are called silkworm farmers. A female silk moth lay hundreds of eggs at a time. These are stored on a strip of cloth or paper carefully and sold to silkworm farmers. They keep these eggs in favorable conditions. Under suitable temperature, the eggs are warm so that the young organism called larva break the shell and come out of the egg. Normally, this is done at the time when mulberry trees bear fresh leaves. The young organism that comes out is called caterpillar or silkworm. It eats the leaves of mulberry plant and grows in size. Along with mulberry leaf, the silkworm is kept in clean bamboo trays for about 25 to 30 days. After this time, the caterpillar stops eating and moves to small bamboo chamber. They create net around them and produce cocoon with silk fiber. Inside the cocoon, caterpillar develops into silk moth. The cocoons are boiled, kept under the sun or exposed to steam. By doing so, the silk fiber separates out. The process of separating silk threads from cocoon of the silkworm is called reeling. It is done with the help of special devices. Here is one of them. Once the end is obtained, these machines unwind the fiber from cocoon wound on the reel. The spinning of silk fibers produce silk yarn or silk thread. By weaving the yarn, so produce silk fabric, and then silk cloth can be formed. There are different kinds of silk moths which produce different types of silk fiber. The differences arises based on the texture, that is coarse, smooth or shiny appearance of the fiber. In India, Sericulture is majorly done in Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Assam and Bodoland, West Bengal, Jharkhand and Tamil Nadu.
Okay, do you know how many silkworms are required to obtain 1 kg of silk fabrics? Is it so easy to get the silk fabrics? Okay, do you know 5,000 or around 5,500 silkworms are required to obtain the raw silk? Imagine how much it is important, how many silkworms are killed in order to obtain the silk fabrics. It is not such a good practice, I think. Okay, so that is why so it is very costly, that it is so expensive. Silk fabrics are so expensive because the silkworm size is very small. The silkworms are very small, and to get the silk fabrics, in order to get the raw silk, we have to make use of 5,500 silkworms to get just 1 kg of silk, raw silk fibers. So that is why silk fabrics are very expensive. So we can replace that by the synthetic silk materials. Okay, now let us discuss about the health hazards in the industry of sericulture. Okay, health hazards of workers in the sericulture industry. Now let us discuss one by one. Okay, sericulture industry, because of lots of dust from the fabrics, fabric material, these sericulture workers will undergo so many health breathing diseases. They will get the breathing diseases such as bronchitis, asthma, bronchitis, all these problems they will get whenever they are exposed to foul smelling vapors. Okay, when they do this steaming and reeling of these silk fibers. Okay, they are affected by the breathing issues, especially the breathing diseases such as bronchitis, asthma and all. And next thing, okay, here whenever they remove the cocoons, okay, from the boiled water, from the boiling water, whenever they separate the filaments, whenever they reel, they will put the they will insert the bare hands. Okay, the hands are not protected. Okay, they don't take any precautions. They don't the hands is not protected. They insert the bare hands to remove the filaments of the cocoon. Okay, so these are the health hazards. So this causes that will peel out their skin. Okay, they will obtain so many skill problems also, so many skin diseases also, and also it causes so many infections. Okay, it is very infectious. Apart from the mulberry silkworm, we also get variety of silk such as silk from the eri, muga and tassar silkworms. The other silk fibers are such as Bombyx mori, Samia richni, then Antheria asamenensis, then Antheria methylita. These are the commercial silk fibers. Okay, I have completed this chapter, animal fibers. Okay, I will give the small task for you. In the textbook, there are looking back question answers are there, and all these mark the right answer, then fill in the blanks, match the following. Find the answers by yourself, and later I will give the correct answer that you cross check so you can understand it better. Go through the textbook. If you have any difficulties, ask the doubts. Okay, that concept is very small, so I took another concept. Now I am taking the next chapter, heat and its effects. Okay, heat and its effects. Now let us discuss about what is heat and what are the effects of heats. Okay, let us conduct one activity. Okay, rub your palm. Okay, fast. Okay, when you rub the palm, what do you feel? You feel the heat, isn't it? Yeah, energy. Heat is the form of energy. So what is heat? Heat is the form of energy. It is used as a fuel. Okay, heat is a form of energy. It is called the thermal energy. It is in science we call it as a thermal energy. Heat is known as a thermal energy. Now let us discuss about the properties of heat. Okay, now let us discuss more about the heat. Okay, heat energy, you can transfer the heat energy from one object to another. Okay, what example you can give? If you take if they consider there is one you are boiling something. In that, if you take one beaker of water and if you keep in that, the heat energy will be transferred from that from the vessel to the beaker. Or if you take the example of iron box. Okay, what happens? You will use the electrical energy and it will be converted into heat energy. And when you put the iron to the clothes and all, what happened? Heat energy is transferred from the iron box to the clothes. Like that, heat is transferred from one object to another. And if you touch also, if you touch the heat and hot materials, okay, you feel the hot because the heat energy is supplied from the material to your hand. The next thing, flow from the heat energy can flow from a region of higher temperature to a region of lower temperature. Okay, how the heat energy is transferred? Okay, if you take one beaker of boiling water and equal amount of, if you take the cold water, okay, if you try to mix them, what happens? The heat energy will there is no increase in the temperature. The temperature will decrease. Okay, when you mix the boiling water and the cold water, the temperature will become, at a particular point they will become equal. Till that time they will there is continuous flow of heat energy from a region of higher temperature to a region of lower temperature. Always that heat energy transfer from the higher temperature to the lower temperature. The next thing is heat energy. The thermal energy can be converted into other forms. Okay, the thermal energy can be converted into other forms. What does it mean? Thermal energy. If you take the example of iron box, okay, in the iron box, what happens? The iron box uses the electrical energy and it will be converted into thermal energy. And also you can do the vice versa also. There is a conversion of heat energy into other forms like mechanical energy, light energy. Heat energy is converted into mechanical energy, or mechanical energy can be used into heat energy. Or here, heat energy can be converted into light energy. For example, if you take the olden days bulb, okay, that tungsten filament, the bulb which has a tungsten filament, what happens? They make use of the electrical energy and the tungsten coil will get heated and it will be converted into light energy. When the tungsten filament heated, it will be converted into light energy. So you will get the light. Then heat energy to mechanical energy. We can give so many examples. Now let's understand the effects of heat by conducting this activity.
Effects of heat. When an object is heated, many changes take place due to the effects of heat. To understand this, consider the following example. Take a vessel containing a few pieces of vegetables and add water up to the brim. Then close it with a lid. Heat it till the water boils vigorously. Note down the changes that take place during heating. You will observe the following changes. The water becomes hotter. Water begins to overflow. Steam escapes from the top of the vessel, pushing the lid out of place as the water boils vigorously, and the vegetable pieces get cooked. These changes are brought about in matter by heat. So we can say that these changes are caused due to the effects of heat.
Okay, this thermal energy, the heat have so many effects on the objects, on the matters and all. So for the first effect which I am going to discuss now is expansion due to heat, expansion of the objects, expansion of the matter, such as we can observe the expansion of the matter when the heat energy is supplied to it. Now let us discuss about the expansion due to heat. Okay, we can observe the expansion of the object, expansion of the matter, expansion of the particles in three states of matter also. We can see the expansion in the liquids, solids and in gas. Okay, now let us discuss about expansion in solids. What are the effects of the solids have when it is heated? You might have observed in the railway tracks, in between the rails there they keep little gap between that. So the reason is during the summer these metal rails get expanded due to the heat, due to the summer heat. So that is why when there is expansion they require little more gap, so the size will increase. That is why otherwise what happens, and because of this summer the heat gets generated and it causes the friction. That is why they keep little gap between the rails. In these steel bridges also they will keep little gaps between the sections in order to allow them to expand during the summer season. The telephone and electric overhead lines are strung between their poles in specific way to allow contraction in winter and expansion in summer. Have you noticed during the summer season these electrical wires will sag? Okay, so what is the reason? On heat days they will sag. The reason is because there is expansion of the metal. There is in the inside the wire there is metal, no? So they will expand because of hot sun. So that is the reason. The wheels of bullock cart have metal rims that are slightly smaller than the wooden wheel. A metal rim is heated so that it expands and can be fitted over the wooden wheel. When the metal rim cools, it contracts and grips the wheel firmly. Okay, whenever they prepare these wheels of bullock cart, the size of they will take the metal rim, which is the size of that metal rim is slightly smaller than the wooden wheel. So and they will heat that in order to fix it to the wheel. So during when it is heated, it was expanded, and when it cools, it will fit to that. It gives the grips, and it grips the wheel firmly. So this is how they will make use of this expansion in the solids. These are the applications of expansion in solids. Now let us see through this activity, expansion of solids. Like how these solids expands on heating. Similarly, liquids also expands due to heating. But the rate of expansion vary from one liquid to another. The rate of expansion is different for different liquids, and the rate of expansion is more compared to the solids when it is at the same temperature. The thermometer uses the fact that liquids expands due to heat. Okay, you can observe that using the thermometer.
Do you know what happens when you heat a liquid? Yes, it turns to gas when it reaches its boiling point. But before it reaches that point, does it change in any way? Let us see what happens to a liquid on heating. For this, we need a test tube holder, capillary tube, spirit lamp, tripod stand, wire gauze, matchbox, and colored water. Light the spirit lamp. Fill the test tube with colored water. Close the mouth of the test tube with a rubber cork. Through the cork, pass a capillary tube such that its end is immersed in the water. Note the level of the colored water in the capillary tube. Now heat the test tube. After some time, note the level of the water in the capillary again. The level of water in the capillary tube has gone up. So the liquid has expanded with the heat. Why does this happen? Heating of the water imparts heat energy to the water molecules, which then begin to move. This free movement of the molecules causes the expansion of the liquid. This phenomenon is called thermal expansion. Thermal expansion is the tendency of matter to change in volume in response to absorption of heat. Thermometers work on this principle. The mercury in the bulb expands when heated, which can be read on a scale. Have you tried checking your temperature using the thermometer?
Does heating or cooling has any effect on air? Let us try to understand this with an activity. Here we have taken a boiling tube. A balloon is stretched tightly over the neck of the tube. A beaker with hot water and another beaker with cold water is taken. Place the boiling tube with the balloon in the hot water and observe. We can see that the balloon inflates after some time. Now, take out the balloon and wait for some time. Place the boiling tube with balloon in the cold water and observe. We can see that the balloon deflates. From these observations, we can infer that air expands on heating and shrinks on cooling.
The rate of expansion in gases is much more compared to solids and liquids, because in gases the particles are very free. They are randomly moving in the container. Okay, that we have observed by conducting this activity. You have seen that the rate of expansion is very fast in gas particles. Okay, in today's class, I have started the new chapter, that is heat and its effect. Okay, and I discussed about expansion in solids, in liquids and gases. And what are the application of these solids, liquids and gases, where we can observe these application of expansion. In the next class, let us learn more about temperature and thermometer. Thank you, students.